Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be covering some advanced Tailwind CSS concepts. They are not so advanced, but they are quite good tips and tricks that you should know. And I wish I knew this earlier when I first started with Tailwind. So, no worries, I know it now. Okay, cool. So, before we really dive into this tutorial, I just want to mention that if you're not that familiar with Tailwind, please just check this video's description and check my video linked there. On that video, I will teach you how to set up your Tailwind CSS project from zero, and I will also show you a really cool extension that I will be using in this video in order to get access to all the Tailwind classes. So it's a auto suggestion class. So Tailwind will provide me all the classes and Visual Studio Code will recommend them for me to use. And this means that I can develop in a faster and better way. Okay, that out of the way, let's really start doing what this video is all about. Let's talk about the top 8 tips and tricks. So tip number 1, of course, in pretty much any website, you have buttons, and typically on hover you want to do something with that button. You want to hide and change maybe an icon, or you want to change the background color, switch colors, whatever. So for that you need the hover state. I'm going to use a simple example. I'm just going to have like a P and type hover me to change my color. Okay, I'm gonna also style it a tiny bit, so class. Now I can say text center, padding by 5, font bold, and text for Excel. This should be good. Cool. So now the goal is when I hover on this P or any other element that the class is applied to, I want to change the color, in this case to red. So all I have to do is to use hover and say text red 500. Now if I hover, see, it changes. So this is the goal. And if I want to start with another color, because when you do not define a color you get black, but if you want to start with green, all you have to do is text green and pick one green color, whatever. Then it goes from green to red. So this is typically a behavior that you see on a button, but not only, but yeah, this is mainly used on buttons. So let's move on to tip number 2. As you can see, I have prepared some code in advance so we do not waste any time. And this is the result. And what I'm trying to accomplish here is a way to, we know that when you hover on a button, you can, like we used on the tip number 1, we can change colors and do stuff. But what I'm trying to accomplish here is different. I want when the user hovers on this card, so anywhere on the card, not necessarily the button or anything, just the card on the gray part, I want to change the CSS of some styles in here. So how can I accomplish that? It's easy. You use group. So you go here to the parent, okay, and you define it group, and then you need to see where you want to change, okay? So you want to say that group a given element, so for example this one, the button, the call to action button, I say group, and then on hover, I want to do something. I want BG orange 500. Let's see. Boom. See, I'm not hovering the button, but I am changing something. And now I want to do something else. I want to do the same thing, but I want to do also with the price. So when someone hovers on the card, oh, but here I do not want the BG, of course. I want the text. The color is the same, but it's a different property. So when I hover, I get, see, it's not the best color, to be honest, because it's harder to read the price, but you understand my point. So I want to do this, okay? So this is one of the things that I was trying to accomplish, okay? So I want to do this. But maybe I want to do something else with it. I can do that also on another element. And I can change this text, for example, the main title. But this time I do not want orange. I simply want text white. Boom. See? So I'm grouping several elements, and on hover I'm changing how the CSS is applied, how the element looks like. So this is tip number 2, how to use group and group on hover. Okay, so now we are ready for tip number 3, and we want to further customize this and to add like a bit of animation. If you see, when I hover, all of the changes happen in one go, okay? They change it all at the same time. So I want to play a bit with transitions and delays and stuff like that. So maybe not only in the group I have those classes, I can also apply utility class called transition colors. Transition colors, okay, and I want to give a duration of 600, for example, let's say 500, 700, whatever, and a delay of 300, something like this. Let's see. See, when you hover, first the title and the price changes, but takes a while until the button changes. So it starts to animate from top to bottom in this case. First the title, then the price, and then the button. Title, price, and button. So actually title and price are at the same time, and then the button has a delay, therefore, and the transition duration, therefore it's slower. Okay? So this is one of the things that you can do. And you can, of course, keep combining this stuff. You can add those properties and in other places if you want to. But I think you got my point now, so I'm going to leave it like this. All right, tip number 4. Of course, I prepared some code in advance as well, so you don't have to see me typing this. Okay, we are using grid here. Okay, and we are defining that this grid has 3 columns. So this means that this grid will always have 3 columns. But this is not very responsive, is it? It is not, because regardless of any screen size, we always get 3 columns. So, but the point is, Tailwind is a mobile-first approach. So applies the classes and only applies the breakpoints after in case they exist. So we can say something like, okay, so by definition my grid will have not 3 columns but 2, okay, and we got it. But then we can say that, and this is smaller screens because it's a mobile first, smaller screen approach first, 2 columns. But then we can say that on MD I get grid calls, I don't know, 3. So I keep having 2, and then I get 3, 2, and then I get 3. And I can keep adding up like breakpoints. So on MD, so LG, I get grid calls 4. So starts with 2, smaller screens, grows to 3, grows to 4, but I want to even grow it to more. I can grow it to 6 or to even 8, because I think we have 8. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6. I have 6, sorry. So on Excel, it's another breakpoint. I want my grid calls to 6, grow to 6. So on a smaller screen, because there's no breakpoint, which means starts like this, I get 2, then on MD grows to 3, on LG to 4, and on XL to 6. I actually have 8, sorry, I don't know how I counted it. Anyways, so we can do 8 here. Boom, see? 2, 3, 4, and 8. So basically, we are defining how many columns we get depending on the screen size. And this is very useful in responsive design. But you can apply breakpoints not only to grid. For example, I have a gap 2, but I can say that on MD I get a gap of 3, and then on XL I get a gap of 10, something like that. So this is the gap, it's this spacing here, and you will see it's gonna increase. So I better make it more visible, so like 6 should be a bit more visible to you. And we can see already, so this is way smaller, and then it grows to way bigger, okay? There you go. So this is how you use breakpoints, and you can apply breakpoints in many situations. So you can define that a title gets a given font size on a certain breakpoint. For example, here I have text 3XL, so it's going to be always 3XL, this text right here. See? But I can define that on LG, I want my text to be 8XL. So this is gonna grow way bigger on bigger screens. There you go, see? So breakpoints are very useful for us to build our UI and keep it responsive as it should be. So you need to explore breakpoints. And with that said, we are ready to move on to tip number 5. All right. Tip number 5. So you sometimes want things to take the full width horizontally, but on bigger screens you do not want it to take the full width. I'm going to show you an example. So I have this parent div that will contain another div, okay? And this div is content, whatever. So, and then I'm going to say this class, it's going to be BG red 500. And text is going to be white and text center. Okay, something cool. I actually do not need this alternative. I don't know why I included it. Okay, so if you notice, like, this is taking the full width. I mean, we want to take the full width horizontally on a smaller screen by definition, but we do not sometimes want to take the full width. If it's a background image, a background color, background video, yes, we possibly want to. But if this is like a product card or whatever, box, div, or section, we typically do not want. We want to constrain these to a certain width. So for that, we can basically say that the width is going to be full, so starts as full like it is now, but we can say that on LG, for example, this width, I'm going to have to use max width, and I'm going to use a custom amount, 50%. Okay. Yeah, and I forgot to center align it. Yeah, but I'm going to explain you. So basically, on the smaller screens, you have the full width. This is getting applied, full width. But when it grows to LG and onwards, this width, it's going to take just 50% of the room available. So this is like 50% of the entire row, right? But yeah, this is what we wanted, or we want maybe something bigger, like, I don't know, 80%. Maybe this is way better. But we also want to center align it, okay? So we do MX Auto, boom. So basically, on smaller screens, you have it always full width, right? But on a bigger screen, and you define that using a given breakpoint, you center align and do not allow the content to grow bigger than a certain width. Because when things to stretch it, especially text looks funny, and it's even harder to read. So you can play with these breakpoints to do this. And I use this technique a lot in my projects and on my videos, so you will see me doing this a lot. Okay, so this is tip number 5, and we are ready to go to tip number 6. And tip number 6, I'm just actually gonna copy paste because I'm not gonna show you nothing really. I'm gonna mention it to you, okay? Tip number 6 is, if you noticed when I'm typing, I get like suggestions, so margin top of whatever. I have all of these suggestions available to me, and I can pick margin top of 7 this time, right? And this is happening, and when I hover on top of the class, I also know what that means, and I have like margin top 7, actually it's 1.75 rem, which is equivalent, or it's the same as 28 pixels. All of this is coming from an extension that I have installed, which is this one, Tailwind. So let's look for Tailwind. There you go, IntelliSense. So this is the extension. So if you're learning Tailwind, means that you want to really improve your Tailwind skills. And this is like one tool for you to use. So you should use this, okay? Because this allows you to do not have to think that much of which classes you need, because they will be suggested to you. You just have to have a small idea about what classes exist, and then you use the suggestions, okay? This means you will develop faster, and in many companies they actually want you to use this, okay? Okay, cool. So this was tip number 6. Just going to mention again, I think I mentioned this already, but if you check this video's description, you will find a link to my other video where I talk about Tailwind in detail, where I tell you and show you how to set up your Tailwind CSS project from scratch. Okay, so this was tip number 6, and we are ready to move on to tip number 7. So let's do it right now. Okay, tip number 7. As you know, we have like all of these colors available to us. So I can go and pick, I don't know, yellow, I can pick pink, I can pick red, whatever. So these colors are coming from Tailwind theme, and they are getting suggested to us because they are built in inside the theme, okay? But I mean, you can customize the color, and there's the syntax for that, like this. You can say like, I don't know, red, and this doesn't even work like this. Oh, because I have double quotes, that's why, sorry. So it does work, but no, it doesn't work like that. So you cannot even do it like this. I thought you could, but you cannot. But you could do in a different way. You could go to your CSS file, define a variable there, and call it. But that's not the best way to do it. The best way for you to extend and customize your own colors is for you to extend the theme. For that, all you have to do is to come to Tailwind config file, and here inside the extend object, you can create another object called colors, okay? And then you can pass your custom color, so this is your color name, custom color, and you give it a value, and the value in this case it's going to be red. So let's see what if I can apply this. And one thing before doing that, when you change these config files, you have to restart the server, so the changes take effect. So I'm going to drop the server, I'm going to clear, and I'm going to do npm start. Okay, now I have restarted my server, and I should be able to use that color, and I called custom color. So let's see if this gets suggested to me. So I can say text, and then I can go to custom, and it's not. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to say text custom color, and it's not. Why it's not custom color? I think it's colors and not color. Yeah, colors. There you go. See, just a typo there. Looks like it worked, but I'm gonna run the server again. So just a typo, not color, but colors. That's why it was not getting suggested to me. But if I save, and if I go maybe here and say text and say custom, there you go. Now I have it suggested to me because I have extended the theme colors, and I can call it something else. So I can call it my red color, and I need to of course restart the server, clear npm run npm start, and my red color, so text, and then I'm gonna say my red color. There you go, it works. I call it red because the color is red. Whatever I put it here, it's going to be working. So this is how you extend the theme colors in Tailwind CSS. Okay, cool. So this was tip number 7. So this means we need to go to tip number 8. Okay, tip number 8. How to customize Tailwind CSS classes. I actually showed you this earlier, but didn't mention that on purpose. So let's forget this. So if you look at here, all of these classes are Tailwind CSS classes. But I can customize this padding Y, for example, because this padding Y means 20 pixels vertically. But I can go here, and this is the syntax, not object, array. And instead of 20, I can say, I don't know, 75 pixels. 75 pixels. Okay? And now I have a padding top and bottom of 75 pixels. Okay. I needed to refresh. Text center. Now I can also go back and say, not 75, it's too big, so 50. Now it's too big, so let's say 10. So you get my point. Using this syntax, you can actually overwrite Tailwind CSS classes, so you can actually customize them in a way. Okay? Cool. This was tip number 8, and this was actually the last one. I was so excited, and I thought there were more tips, but I don't have any other tips for you at this time. So if you enjoyed this video, just leave me a like and consider subscribing and share it with people that you think they might be interested in this type of topic. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!